Oh my God, everybody. You know who you're listening to. Marcy Newman, of course, a heart shift coach. But I have such a special guest with me today. You are going to absolutely love every single moment of this interview. I have a very, very special dating and love expert. And I mean that word, expert. And you know me. I don't use it lightly. My guest today is psychologist, Dr. Dianna Kirschner. And I just want you to know that I actually met Dianna a number of years ago. In fact, just before we started the show, we were kind of reminiscing and laughing about it. So, Dianna, I want to welcome you to my show. And in a way that you had welcomed me to yours many years ago. We had a little bit of a blip on that screen, but I'm so happy that we have come back together again. So I want to welcome you officially, Dianna. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Marcy. Thank you. Yeah, I'm just thrilled to be with you today. I'm absolutely thrilled to be with you. I just think your work is where it's at. It's just fantastic.
Thank you. So we have a mutual admiration club going on here. And so all of you listening, you're going to hear some and feel some love oozing, I think, as we go forward. But let me tell you a little bit more about Dianna and why I'm so excited that she's here today. Dianna has been in this work for such a long time. And that alone does not make her an expert. But what does is the depth that she brings to her work. Dianna actually, as I told you, she is a psychologist and has worked for many years working in the field of relationships. So whether it was in family relationships or romantic relationships, it was always focusing on the relationship with the self and with others. And I think it's what makes her so outstanding. But she also is a celebrity. She's appeared regularly on the Today Show. She starred in a PBS special on finding love. She is so well known for her wonderful international bestseller, Love in 90 Days. And by the way, we are here celebrating her 10th year anniversary with that book. So congratulations, Dianna. That's really amazing. That 10 years.
Yeah, the 10th year anniversary edition just came out. It's so exciting. It's amazing.
And in those 10 years, I can't even imagine how many people you've helped. How many relationships have been born and healed and repaired, or even maybe let go of if they weren't the right one. But more than anything, it's how you bring people together. And that is, it's so evident in all of your programs. As a matter of fact, I was reading through everything that you've done in all these years. By the way, how many years have you been in this work?
Well, actually, I've been in this work for over 35 years, but I, developed a lot of the work for therapists originally because I was looking at integrated individual and marital work, so it's been many, many, many years. And then with the coaching in the past 10 years, we've helped tens and tens of thousands of people all around the world. We've been really, really blessed. So that's been amazing, really, really amazing.
Yeah, I mean, to touch that many people and to know that you've had such a significance in their lives is something I hope that you're very, very proud of. It means a lot in this world.
It's been a real intense personal journey for me. My background was very, very difficult as a child, and I was not really a child who was welcomed when I was born. I was born into a family who only wanted boys. I was the fifth daughter.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, growing up, I really had this thirst to figure out love. I didn't feel like I almost, I really didn't feel like I belonged here.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was quite the journey. And then, getting my heart broken over and over and over again by different guys, and, finally reaching a bottom. My late teens, I said, this one guy dumped me, and actually, I said, you know what, I have to figure out what love is. I want to figure out what love is, and that's when I started studying everything I could get my hands on, and, wound up in psychology, and been very, very blessed to be able to be with my soulmate. And a lot of the work I do is really about paying it forward.
What a beautiful gift you are. I mean, that is such a wonderful perspective. Well, all I can say is that it really does come through in your work. Tell me something. I don't want to take anything, that is so deserving lightly. So I do want to talk about this whole anniversary and what it's been like for you to have a book that has, maintained its best-selling position. I mean, internationally, right? This book has been used by so many, a lot of celebrities too. Tell us about that.
Yeah, actually, Hoda Kotb used it, and she's now in a great relationship. That's Hoda, from the Today Show. And we had a great time because I was on there a lot. And, she used the approach. She wrote about it in her own memoir. Hoda, the book Hoda, and she was talking about how using this approach, she didn't have to have this waiting by the phone anxiety with guys, that it really stopped that because she was doing what we call the dating program of 3, that is dating 3 guys casually with no sex, just maybe a little kissing here and there and that kind of thing. And now she's in a wonderful, wonderful relationship, and she is such a doll. Oh, my God, she deserves everything. She's just fantastic. She really, really is, and I'm over the moon happy for her.
Oh, it must be so fun to know that you were so influential. And wasn't there somebody else, the PBS host?
Oh, yes, Midge Woolsey. When I did my PBS show, Midge was asking for the pledge monies to be sent to PBS when I did that. And she comes to me and she says, I'm in my 50s and I've never been married, and I always try everything that I ask for money for. So I need to try your program. So I said, okay. And, she found the great love of her life in 60 days. It actually gives me the chills.
Oh, me too.
It actually gives me the chills. She found the great love, and he's like a prince to her. He's so... She just sent me a picture of them at a fundraiser, a charity, and they're just gorgeous. They look like the princess and the prince at the ball. And she met him in 60 days. And,
amazing.
They had the most darling wedding. I got to go to the wedding, and, they were singing show tunes, all these wonderful show tunes. It was really like out of a musical comedy. I was like, this is so cool.
How fun.
Yeah. So, that was wonderful, and that was actually written up in the New York Times. The New York Times interviewed her about that. So that was pretty awesome, too. But, it means just as much to me about everyone else who's been, able to use these simple principles to create what they really, really want. It tickles me. I mean, we've even had homeless people. I swear, homeless women have actually gotten used copies of the book and used it. Used it. Yeah.
I mean, everybody deserves love and to be loved. And I'm so thrilled to hear that too. Certainly having a home is not a prerequisite for love, is it?
No. And the beauty of it is, they use the diamond self work, which is my favorite part of the work. the diamond self-work is where you work on actually transforming your own identity, how you experience yourself. And you get to actually create and choose a diamond self nickname for yourself, which, often it's celebrities who get to do that, but everyone can do that. I myself have done a lot of diamond self work that has enabled me to do what I'm doing right now. When I was growing up, I was very, very, very shy to the point of being socially mute. I really couldn't speak, believe it or not. And I did a lot of this diamond self work. And, a key component is actually giving yourself a diamond self nickname. A lot of the names that the women have used have been like, Beloved Mighty Isis, Amazing Grace, Vivacious Vixen, Saucy Minx, Goddess of Love and Wisdom.
Now I have God bumps. Yeah, oh my God, I can feel that. And so what you're describing is how they take on a completely different persona? Is that?
Yes.
So
yes.
they
and it's
embody
a reflection
that.
of their their gifts, their unique gifts, who they want to be in the world. It's so amazing, and I invite your listeners to play with that and think of yourself in terms of what name would you want to be, who would you want to be, and to kind of play full out with that. I mean, sometimes it's almost embarrassing if you think of a really great name. When I first started doing this work, I had such a low self-esteem myself that I started with a diamond self name, Radiant Beacon of Loving Guidance. And I couldn't actually even say that to anybody because I was like, oh my goodness, I don't. It's like embarrassing already. I don't know if I could be that wonderful, and but that having that diamond self name has helped me so much. I mean, I couldn't have done any of the stuff I've been doing without it, honestly.
So it's really interesting because what you're describing is such a deep level personal transformation. And of course, where you present it as being sort of an entree into a new, deeper love, of course, starting with the self, it really translates as it ripples out into all the different aspects of their lives then.
You're so right, Marcy. You're so right. The outer world mirrors the inner world. So the problem is when your inner world feels broken and it feels dark and it feels sad and it feels very wounded and hopeless, very hard, as you know, in the heart. When that is happening in the heart, there's constriction, and the actual electromagnetic field that surrounds the heart is constricted.
Sure.
And so it's hard to be your true self. It's hard to be real. It's hard to be in a loving, connected relationship when your heart is hurt like that. And but when you start feeling into who you would prefer to be, who you were meant to be, with your unique gifts, you can heal that and expand that heart system out, and that then attracts and connects so profoundly.
And of course, now you're talking about, what I teach, and that is, the journey to self-love. So what I'm also thinking about is how interesting it would be to be able to contact those homeless women and to see how this is played out in their lives. Because as you said, as they are able to connect with their hearts, everything has to shift. Once the heart begins to open like that vibrationally, right? The energy is now shifted, and what it's projecting has to bring something new and different into their own energy field. It would be fascinating to know that. But I also have to say I'm feeling very comforted to know that that was their beginning, because I know the quality of your work. And I'm so happy to hear that that is a foundation for them having gone forward. I'm sure that they have.
Well, usually when you do the diamond self work, what happens is that your work shifts. You become actually more effective in the world as well, in terms of creating things that
Sure.
you didn't think you could create. That's why I like to talk about that. You could have love, or you could have a life be actually beyond your wildest dreams, which sounds crazy, but
no, not at all.
Yeah, you understand. You totally get it, because this is the kind of work that you do. It's
but it makes perfect sense, and that's what I really want our listeners to hear and to feel. That you're right. The approach is about the relationships that perhaps our listeners are dreaming of, but what actually lies beyond that are things that they can't even dream of yet.
Exactly. You're limited by your own scope of what's possible, and the divine has a better plan for you
than could ever imagine.
Yeah. That's the weird thing. That's the weird thing.
It's actually quite profound, Dianna. Yeah.
It's amazing. It's strange, and all it takes is a little willingness. It takes a little willingness to persevere, a little willingness to keep going, a little willingness to pick yourself up when you're down, a little willingness to try again, and a miracle happens.
Yeah.
A miracle happens when you least expect it often, but a miracle happens.
So I know that, for instance, in your book, in Chapter 2, you talk about the ways that women sabotage themselves in relationships. How important do you think it is to be able to identify those ways?
Well, the unconscious really will take over and run your life. If you're not aware of something, it will run your life. You have to be able to be aware of what the programs are that are running you in your mind. And there's parts of the mind that are unconscious, that we're less aware of, and they're floating right below the level of consciousness. And so you need to catch those patterns, because otherwise you're just going to be shocked. Because, oh my goodness, here I am back with an alcoholic. I said I would never be with an alcoholic. Or, oh, another guy who dumped me. I said I would never do that again. I was going to look for somebody real. Or, oh, I'm lonely again. I'm all alone again. Nothing has been happening. These, if you keep finding yourself in the same position, chances are you're in an unconscious deadly dating pattern. I call this a deadly dating pattern. And, some of the most...
Good name, by the way.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, because it really does kill off any chance of love. So, so some of the most frequent ones are the flame out, where you get involved too quickly, and too deep. You're having 5-hour conversations. You wind up having sex. You don't know the guy. Lo and behold, you're waiting for a text that never comes, a phone call that never comes. The hermit, where you're hiding out, you're working, you have too much going on, you're really not meeting anybody. I'll make you love me, which is about choosing someone who's not really crazy about you, not that into you, but you're going to be so fantastic, and it's meant to be, and you're going to work overtime, and you're going to cook for him, and you're going to get him tickets to the playoffs, and you're going to make him love you. And of course, as you well know, you can't make anybody love you. They either love you or they don't. And then, of course, the grass is greener, which is, oh, my goodness, this guy doesn't seem to be the right package. He doesn't, he's not quite right. He's not quite perfect. I thought I wanted a, tall, dark guy, and he's too short, and he's too this or that, and, and so you pass, and the guy turns out to be perfectly fine, and, you lose out. So those are just some of the ones that I discuss. I have a number of them in the book, but I really do think it's very important to catch yourself in terms of what you're doing so that you can stop it and live into what I call your love intention. This is your statement of what you're up to creating in your love life. And that is a key to get out of these deadly dating patterns.
So let me just ask you a question. So what if a person is already in a relationship and they can see they're in a downward spiral, or let's say, things have gone to hell, all right, and you're trying to get your ex back. Being able to identify these sabotaging patterns, are they going to be the same patterns? Would you look for the same things, or would they be different things?
They would be the same. We play these out even if we're in a love relationship, right? So if your pattern is the hermit and you're being a workaholic, you're going to be a hermit, and you're going to be being a workaholic even if you're married, right? If you're in a not perfect, I'll pass, you're going to be very picky about the guy you're with, him, and not really, kind of on your high horse and not really available.
Sure.
Times, for your whole lifetime, rather. And so this is something it's really important to be aware of, whether you're in a relationship or not, because it's a way that you stop yourself from having the intimacy and the connection that actually is there or could be there for you, the love that could be there for you, and that's the part you want to find. That's the part you want to find.
I mean, it makes perfect sense that they would continue. But I guess my question is, do they show up differently? In other words, is it more difficult to see these patterns in a relationship or out of a relationship?
That's a great question. That's a really, really great question. I think sometimes it's harder in a relationship, because you settle into an auto pattern. It's automatic. You're just on a rote interaction pattern, and so you're not really paying attention. It's peck.
Right.
You kiss each other. You go out to a movie. You have possibly some kind of rote sex.
Sure, happens.
Not particularly real. Not particularly exciting, and so you don't question it, and sometimes there's less pain when you do have someone around, even if they are at arm's length. There's less loneliness and less pain, so you're less apt to look at what you're doing, and to change it. So, but I'm a firm believer in a love intention, whether you are in a relationship or not. A love intention, which is a detailed statement of what you are committed to creating for yourself, is fantastic. And putting your attention on that intention. So, if you have a statement like, I have an extraordinary love relationship with children and service to the world, or my husband and I continuously deepen our love, which is one that I use with my husband, by the way. My husband and I continuously deepen our love. Or, I meet and marry the most extraordinary man who is wonderful beyond my wildest dreams. So, you make your statement and you put your attention on it. I like to have people actually write out their intention and post it where they can see it every day. and just put a few minutes attention on it. And it tends to come true. It's a very powerful thing to do.
It is powerful, I know. In my work, too, whatever, of course, the law of attraction, whatever you put your focus on is going to expand and become greater and, of course, bring back to you the energy that you're sending out. But what I'm also hearing you describe, and actually I'm getting my God bumps back again, is in being in a relationship, what a beautiful way to become proactive in creating the relationship of your dreams. So having two people who share that intention, who share that vision of what the relationship is. I mean, what you're saying, first off, is that your book is not just for singles. It's for married people as well. People who are in partnerships of any kind.
Yeah. This Diamond Self-Work alone is extremely powerful, and I have a whole chapter on the 8 habits of living love, which is these are the actual habits that healthy couples have in their relationships, and this is what really makes a relationship pop, really makes a relationship work. So there's material in there that has really proven to be very helpful to people from that moment where you're just first dating and you're confused, you're not sure, you're in the gray area, all the way up to people who've actually been married for decades.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was just saying that those habits of healthy couples, they work no matter how long you've been together.
And it's such a beautiful opportunity to have that healthy relationship modeled, because so many of us don't come from families where necessarily the relationship between our parents or caregivers was necessarily healthy. And so this is really such a wonderful part of your book, and I think it's one that really, to tell you the truth, Dianna, makes your work stand apart. The depth of your experience with, as I said earlier on when I was introducing you, with, working with both families and relationships and the people who are also working with those people and developing programming on every level just gives you a perspective that is so unique and so powerful. And so I really want to thank you for pulling all of that together and giving people the modeling that's so necessary today.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I never had any modeling, which is part of the reason I really wanted to have that in the book. And also, the book is formed on research. There's about 250 research notes in there.
Amazing.
Looking at what really, really works. I think you got to build on what research shows you works to create love, works to create self-love, works to create self-empowerment, and then you have the clinical experience on top of that.
Right.
So then the path becomes pretty clear about, where to go and how to create what you want.
And also the reader can have such confidence in what they're reading, because a lot of times there may be information out there that has not been validated and that has not really been put to the test. And so this is such an important aspect, I think, of what you offer. But, something popped into my mind. And again, coming back to the fact that this is your 10th anniversary and the reoffering of this book. How has love changed in the last 10 years?
Well, there's been enormous change. The book has been completely updated, and of course, the major changes have occurred with the apps like Tinder, and a lot of the online dating sites having evolved and changed. At this time, 200 million people a month are doing online or digital dating on apps.
Oh, my God.
200 million a month.
Oh, my Lord.
So, we updated all that, and based on my team of love mentor coaches, we know how to work the profiles and all that stuff, and so all that's been updated in terms of how to create and craft a profile on an app or an online site that really works, because with all these sites, it's extremely competitive and can get very confusing and draining and demoralizing. So it's very important to know how to navigate all these sites and to quickly go through. It's a numbers game now, really is a numbers game, and quickly just go through the numbers and not get burnt out or demoralized, and find the gold. There is definitely gold. I mean, now 1 out of every 3 marriages starts online, and here's the fascinating thing. Those marriages are happier and longer. They last longer than marriages that start offline. And I think that's because the matching is better. You can find a perfect match.
Wow.
You really can now.
But let me ask you a question. So how does one begin to foster any kind of sense of self when you're out there competing with these millions of other women? Like, how do you, seriously, so how do you bolster your sense of self, feel that you're attractive and have that self-confidence to be out there? And you're really
that's
putting
where the
yourself
diamond
out there.
Work really comes in. You really want to do your diamond self work. That's very, very important. And in the book, I talk about the importance of love mentors and coaches who are there for you.
That's right.
It's hard to do it by yourself these days. It's it can be done. A lot of women do it by themselves, but it really is a huge help to have somebody who has your back, who can help you navigate through the whole maze of the whole thing. And, certainly having a book to guide you in terms of how to write your profile and how to do your picture and all that stuff means that you're going to be ahead of 99% of the women.
Oh, what a great little caveat there. Okay, ladies are talking about a leg up here. All right. Mm-hmm. So what you're actually describing from my point of view and from the work that I do is shifting that vibrational frequency. You're actually, through the work that you're doing, you're giving people the how to shift your vibrational energy, so that you're attracting the person who can match it. It's phenomenal.
Yeah, and how to communicate it. How to communicate it out there to help, to help your intention manifest, So, and again, there's research. There's research on what men respond to online. There's very clear research. They find women who are wearing red as more attractive. If you have a red scoop top, you're going to be rated as more beautiful. If you're looking at the camera and smiling in a big way and having your diamond self energy come out, you're going to be rated as more beautiful than women who are not looking at the camera. There's some very simple things that mean that 1,000 men will be interested in you rather than 100. And so when you got that many, you can then sort through, and there's going to be more good ones in the batch. You know what I'm saying?
What awesome recommendations. That's amazing. Let me ask you another question, because this just popped up into my mind. So you were talking about the work that's really important to do energetically before you put your profile out there. What about healing work, like somebody who's healing from a heartbreak? Because I'm sure that you've come across people, as I have, who just want to jump right back in and say, I'm getting right out there. It's like falling off of a horse. The faster you get back up, the faster you're going to find somebody. What's your advice for someone like that?
Well, I think it's very important to be with yourself, to use some healing modalities, to feel your feelings and one incredibly important thing to do is to actually go to your close friends and cry and tell your story, because the research shows that that's very healing, literally healing to the brain in heartbreak. It produces natural opioids that soothe you. And so you want to take care of yourself, and of course meditation and prayer can be very helpful. You want to heal that pain, and you don't want to run from it, because when you run from pain, it tends to chase you, and it won't let go of you.
What a good point.
So, it's important. Meditation, a little exercise, being with loving friends, letting them listen and love on you and heal you. And
It just feels so much better than jumping out there without having taken the time to nurture yourself like that. I imagine it would be pretty scary otherwise, right?
Well, you can get yourself in situations that are not good for you, when you're not centered. You want to be centered. You don't want to be taken advantage of by anybody.
Right, of course. So, talking about love, of course, what can we do to bring more love into our lives?
Well, I like to talk about being the change you want to see in your life. So you smiling and saying hello to people is very important and beautiful, and it sets you up to open up new networks of friends. Each person you meet has a network of at least 200 friends and people that they know. So you being the change you want to see in your life is very, very important. And certainly then when you get into an environment where there could be interesting matches for you, you're ready, you have a habit of smiling, making contact, and saying hello. So you're going to be open, right? You're going to attract connection, and that's fantastic.
Amazing that something so simple, right, so small, could have such a significant difference.
Yeah.
In the outcome. Yeah. Fabulous. Yeah. Okay, I have to ask the question. So we know that this book is definitely for women. We know that it's also for people in relationship or out of relationship. What about for men? Is there anything in here for them?
The whole book, actually. I tell you what happened.
Love it, Dianna. Love it.
When the publisher bought Love in 90 Days from me, I said, look, we developed this for men and women because I developed it at my training institute over many years, and so the publisher said, no, you have to only slant the book for women. Because only women will buy books of this nature, right? But the truth is that it was all developed for men and women, and we've had many men who've used the book and found love and success and all kinds of wonderful things. So, yes, it's definitely great for men. Love in 90 Days works great for men.
Isn't that amazing? I mean, it's so important, for men to know that they can get this kind of support and foundation for building relationship as well. Is there anything that's different for them as opposed to women?
Well, they have to, be a little bit more proactive. I talk about these criteria that you want to look for in somebody who you think could be a contender for your dating program of 3. I'd like you to date 3 people casually with no sex. A little kissing, a little canoodling is fine. And the 3 criteria are 1, crazy about you, 2, willing to grow, and 3, meeting the soulmate basics. And, we don't have time. That's a whole other show to go into. But for the men, the crazy about you part, usually if they have to be a little more proactive in pursuing the women. So the crazy about you part, for men is about observing that the woman does seem to be interested, is open, has a green light for him, and thinks he's special. When it's a matter of a woman evaluating a guy, she would look for him to be more proactive in chasing her, wanting a date, calling her, texting her, that kind of thing.
So all of our listeners, male, female, in relationship, out of relationship, thinking about a relationship, not quite sure if you want a relationship, this is a book for you. And I know, Dianna, you have some incredible bonuses for people who are buying this book now in celebration of your 10th year anniversary. Can you just talk about those for a moment?
Oh, my goodness. We have $1,000 worth of the most extraordinary, amazing gifts for people who buy this 10th anniversary edition of Love in 90 Days. It's so exciting. There are so many great gifts. Marcia, you have a great gift in there. You want to talk about that a little bit?
Well, it's based on, my work with forgiveness and self-love. And, I come from the perspective that, we all have pasts, and we need to heal the past in as much as we just need to shift the energy so that we can experience something new. And from my perspective, I have found that self-forgiveness and the cultivating of self-love is at the basis of that. And so that's what I focused on in my gift, and it's fantastic.
Oh, my God. You guys, you definitely want to take advantage of this. I mean, this just tells you, these gifts that my colleagues have given to celebrate the 10th anniversary edition of Love in 90 Days are so extraordinary. Every time one gift would come in, I'd say, I want that one. I want that one. It's everything from using essential oils for love to how to a never-before e-report on how to use your eyes in flirting and a powerful way to do that, and from love experts all over the world. And so it's very easy to get that. I guess you'll have a link down below, Marcy,
absolutely,
for people to go to claim their gifts. Just go to that link that's in the show notes, and you'll be able to sign up and get those gifts with purchase. Definitely, I would take advantage of it. Pick up your copy of Love in 90 Days now, because that gift selection will not be available, for too long. So,
and also,
definitely just. Yeah.
No, I was just going to say, and also people can go to your website, which, by the way, is filled with so much wonderful information. You could spend hours there, so I highly recommend that. And Dianna, just tell them what the website is, please.
Yes, it's lovein90days.com, lovein90days.com. And, definitely come visit us.
Fabulous. And I just have to say, both for you, Dianna, and for our listeners, I want you to recognize, as Dianna was saying before, thousands of bonuses from people, experts all over the world. And I want you to know what that says about Dianna's work, about how revered she is, how honored and greatly respected she is in this field, and how important it is that you buy that book. Get the foundations, the tools, and the insight that will make all the difference in your lives. There's just no reason not to. And it can start right now. So I applaud you. I thank you so much for being here today. I'm thrilled to have had this time with you and to be able to share you with so many people around the world, and just to be a part of celebrating you and what you've brought to this world. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Marcy. I'm honored to be with you. This has been amazing and fantastic, and I so admire your work as well.
Well, thank you. And to everyone, yes, just click on that link below or go to lovin90days.com. Get your copy of the book, get all those bonuses, and make certain that you give yourself some time, go through Dianna's website. It really is amazing. And of course, come back again and listen to this interview over and over and over again. Leave your comments. We want to know what you think and how you feel and your questions. We're both here for you. So have just the best time with all of this. And thank you from the bottom of my heart, Dianna, and to all of our listeners. And I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.
Lots of love. Bye-bye.